Part 6. Gods of the Mountain Ranges. Discourse 6 of 20. Beloved God Tabor, 11th January, 1954. Beloved God Tabor, my beloved friends of the mountains, it is with great joy that I may spend a few moments with you and share with you the beauties that are in my domain and the blessings which they pour forth to the people of this world, and which they are yet to bring into outer conditions for the blessing of all who will live in this world in the future. The handiwork of nature is very wonderful, my dear ones, and it would be well if mankind paused occasionally in the midst of their outer activities to realize how great is the power of life, and how miraculous is its love and its beauty that is constantly going on everywhere, and most of it unseen by mankind. When you realize that the beings of nature and the forces of the elements, by conscious command of the great ones who govern this system of worlds, bring about the fulfillment and manifestations of the beauty which the great divine plan of life lovingly places everywhere in this world and is constantly trying to expand, it takes very great love, my dear ones, and patience to wait upon wayward humanity century upon century, and yet we are busy all the time building beauty and using the magnificent gifts and powers of life to create ever greater beauty and ever greater blessings and reveal greater depths of the love that gives all. And mankind, in their depredations and degradation, have so often torn to pieces the handiwork and blessings of the beings of nature. And when mankind's destructive creation returns upon individuals, age after age, when the individual leaves and stops the destruction for a time, nature still beautifies and covers over the scar upon the world. Nature ever is using the magnificent miracle powers of God's heart, God's great love and intelligence and designing power in its great creative activity, ever and ever and ever to cover over and wipe out mankind's distortion and discord and destruction. So, you whom I shall call my family of the mountains, because some of you have loved the mountains very, very greatly, I shall expect, through your calls, if you will cooperate with me, to help undo some of mankind's mutilation of the beauties which the powers of nature have bestowed. You must understand how great the intelligence is, how great is the love, how great is the power that designs the infinitely small with such beauty and such perfection, the same as the great cosmic beings design a world, or a system of worlds, or a galaxy of systems. The same mighty God intelligence of eternal love that designs the beauty in the infinitely small is the same God perfection and love of life in the great central sun that has designed and manifested the entire universe. So, one day when you come to visit my realm of beauty, you will understand more thoroughly what I mean tonight. In the meantime, contemplate it and see if your understanding cannot reach out and stretch a little bit into my world, that I may come back into yours and leave a blessing of beauty and gifts of perfection that you may use as you go forward to your eternal destiny in bringing about the freedom of the earth. Just as the sun ever is dissolving and consuming the impurities generated in the atmosphere of earth, just so do we continue purifying and re-beautifying many activities of nature that must be held in balance if mankind is to be allowed to exist here in the future. And when through the frightful conditions of war mankind do the things they do, only one thing can you do if you understand the realm of beauty and authority and love from which I come. You can only do one thing, and that is to lift your heart in love and gratitude and adoration and ask the heart of creation to have mercy and love and forgiveness to that life, part of life, which is so bound in the shadows that it cannot see the sunshine of the beauty of everlasting love. When mankind prefers to destroy each other and distort the blessings of the world to desecrate everything that is here in preference to loving God and receiving the wonderful universe around them, then you must know something very severe must come to awaken them from the shell of their crime and their destruction and their filth. We ever work to expand the beauties of nature whose purity goes forth to help raise all life into our octave. And those of you who have faced this beloved I Am presence, you whose hearts are calling to the ascended host, you who love the light, do you know what you mean to us? You are like a breath of fresh air in sunshine to one who has been in the dark recesses of imprisonment. You, as a handful of mankind who have been willing to make your calls, are an encouragement to us. And so in return, I come to encourage you. And in the great wonderful activities of the powers of nature, those powers, my dear ones, were you to require their beauty and their gifts in some wondrous service to life, you would find the beings of the elements and the powers of nature bringing to you their divinest gifts without distress and work on your part, and without desecration of the world in which they live. You would not have to shatter a mountain to get what you required of the elements there, or the minerals, or the metals. If mankind were friends with these blessed beings, and would keep themselves purified, the beings would be glad and anxious to bring their blessings to mankind to perform the service that again beautifies the world and uses the blessings through the powers of nature that God has so richly given. So, my dear ones, mankind, in order to exist, does not have to destroy the beauty and the handiwork of cosmic beings who have built the earth. Wouldn't it be a strange, strange way of life that would make it necessary for beings to destroy something beautiful other beings had built just in order to exist? It doesn't seem natural, does it? It doesn't seem reasonable, does it, for mankind to have to live as they do with slavery and destruction as their only means of existence? I shall lift your hearts tonight into the great creative heart of God's mighty love and show you the master powers of life that can design in a breath the beauty of nature and release the powers that make that beauty grow and give its blessing to everything else in creation. Do you not think the great plan of life is very perfect and very wonderful when those who govern your world care so much for you and care so wonderfully for the beings of the elements and the powers of nature, and love beauty so much, and are so filled with perfection that they design something as tiny as a snowflake with such exquisite beauty and balance to exist maybe only an instant? That is the perfection to which I have reference. That is how much love cares for its manifestations. That is how much love at the center of the universe loves to give perfection, and how much it is willing to give of its own beauty and its own power, that its creatures may have only that which is perfect. So, if you will think some of these things through, if you will think deeply upon that to which I have referred tonight, I trust, as time goes on, some of the blessing of which I am custodian may come to bless you, make your pathway easier, give you unlimited powers over certain conditions in this world, and enable you to go forward in your service to the light with much greater freedom, much greater power, and much greater victory. I just happen to be custodian of some very wonderful gifts, and I wish you knew me better, and that there were no veils between. Then my gifts would be yours to use in your outer conditions, and what you call miracles would be just your natural, everyday experience. And I do want you to live a life of miracles as time goes on and as love holds greater command. You do not realize how much I love the beings of the elements and the powers of nature who do my bidding when I design something beautiful, and I call them to my assistance. Because we obey the law of love, they love to come to me, and I love to have them, for together we design that which honors the mighty I Am presence and the ascended host, and blesses everything else in the universe with the radiation of its beauty and its love. Love is a wonderful thing, my dear ones. The love to the beings of nature, the love to the forces of the elements, love to those blessed beings will draw to you things the outer world can never give. Not all human beings put together can give to you what some of these beings have in their custodianship as the blessings of nature. Can all mankind give you a mountain? Can they create a mountain? Not yet. But my beings of the elements and my powers of nature have built mountains of beauty in which abide wonderful currents of life, wonderful power and energy of eternal purity, and through whose radiation alone we can lift mankind's human creation and consume it in the violet flame. You do not understand, my dear ones. The beings that create the mountains and govern the life currents that pass through them and create the minerals and the metals and the crystals and the beauty and the jewels that are formed within the mountains of the world. Do you know what the mountain ranges are? They are the custodians of many wonders of God's great life, and many, many marvels that can teach mankind things they do not yet know. So, since I am custodian of certain things in the mountains, I am also custodian of certain beings who create them. They are a part of my family too. I would love to have one part of my family know the other part of my family more intimately. Now, one thing more. In blessing the beings of the elements, the powers of nature, you will be taught to use certain activities of life and your own consciousness and your own love to help those beings fulfill their divine plan, create their beauty, bring it to its perfection, and then lift them into a more wonderful activity that is greater and more powerful. Thus, your love to them is like a magnet to raise them to something better and greater capacity. And in doing that, their love comes back to you to give you always the greater gifts with which they are working in their activities of nature to produce more beauty and more blessings and release the manifestations of greater love to the earth. So, if you can feel that they are part of our family of nature, I think you will be greatly surprised at some of the gifts they can bestow upon you all. You know, you search the world over sometimes for a jewel or something that is the creation of nature, and you struggle to make the money to buy it, and you have so much effort to go to get what you want. And yet, enough love to the beings of the elements and the powers of nature would draw them to you, and they would come and bring you their jewels without what you call mining them the hard way. They have the perfect way of creating them, and after they were created, they would love to give them to you to make you love them more. That is the miracle way to live life. If you knew how many miracles there were in the powers of nature and forces of the elements, why, I just tell you, they are all miracles as far as we're concerned. Some of them will not accept mankind's discord, for they return it again and again to those who do not comply with the law of purity and love and harmony. So, in guarding the currents of life that are in the mountain ranges of a continent, we are guiding the life of those nations as well who abide within that continent. And I might say to you, the Rocky Mountain Range, which is my home, is really the backbone of the American continent, the North American continent. So it is quite a responsibility, I assure you, to keep those currents of electronic force flowing without interruption and in balanced action in spite of mankind's determination to take out of the mountains anything they want. Now, since they have gone almost mad with this uranium desire, I am watching quite carefully, and if they think they're going to use more and more and more of that just for destruction, I am thinking some other things. If they become too gluttonous, it might be necessary to change their minds for them, and while it might be distinctly unpleasant for them, it would benefit the world. So, if I were you, regardless of the rush, I think I would not be too anxious to hunt uranium for atomic bomb purposes. Atomic energy is one thing for commercial use, but atomic bombs are another. And it might interest you to know, my dear ones, that there is a way and means of drawing atomic energy, electronic force, whatever you call it, out of the atmosphere without all that strain and struggle. So, who is wise and who isn't? Mankind's way will always be hard until they learn and obey the law of love. We have told you this again and again. We have told it to mankind down the ages, and may I say to you and assure you that we will keep on telling it until mankind are either purified or, of their own free will, give the obedience by which love can fulfill the law of its own perfect manifestation everywhere in this world. Our love has poured to the beings of the elements a long while, and to the powers of nature, and they have blessed us with their marvelous gifts and beauty. And so we have found that love is worthwhile. So if you, with great devotion to your blessed I Am presence first, and then to those of the ascended host to whom your attention is drawn from time to time, will pour your love to the beings of the elements and the powers of nature, and bless and bless and bless and thank them for everything they have done for you, I assure you, that will bring back to you blessing that cannot come and will not come in any other way. So tonight I wish to teach you how to experiment and associate with the powers of nature, the forces of the elements, and to feel your nearness to us in the activity with which we are concerned, whereby those beings carry out our will and produce the creation that blesses mankind, and which is for their perfect use. Now, I have been very close with you sometimes, although it's a long while since we have had a visit with each other. But I may come more frequently in the future if time and conditions permit. In the meantime, I leave it with you to remember what the beings who love me and serve me are willing to do for you as you recognize them as part of our family. Did you notice I said our family? Yours and mine. And that is because you have had the blessings of nature, the blessings of the beings of nature, the powers and beings of the elements, many, many ages. Now let us bring into concerted action our obedience to the law of love, and let it reveal to you what gifts and powers it is waiting to bestow. And those will come to some of these beings that come under my direction. Magnificent is the power beyond description that is held focused within the mountain ranges of the world to ever pour forth its purifying essence that, mankind may breathe more easily. If it were not for the purifying electronic force that is radiated forth from the mountain ranges of the world by conscious directing intelligence and by great cosmic beings who have given that life and that energy, if it were not for that and the love we bestow, you would have smothered to death long ago. Mankind's own discordant human creation will smother them if they do not have purity, at least a certain proportion of it, to give them an opportunity to make further effort to come into the constructive way of life and live as God intends. So, to those of you who love nature so much, and I believe most all of you do, I have many surprises that as you feel closer and closer to the powers of nature and the forces of the elements, the beings of the elements, we will be able to bring to you some very delightful gifts that will carry certain power and perfection into your world. And as we go forward, feeling the oneness with this portion of life which acts through the beings of the elements and the powers of nature, try to realize that its mighty love to the earth loves you, and as you remember and recognize that love and respond to it, and send your love in return, you fulfill the law, the cosmic law, and you enable them, certain ones of the ascended host, to come to you in a more tangible manner, and to bring to you the blessings that will make your pathway easier and clothe you with mastery sooner. So, your love to the powers of nature and beings of the elements will draw to you the assistance from others who will raise you, as your love raises those precious beings who have created such beauty and blessing for the use of mankind. Tonight, try to know that these beings are the family of my heart, and I trust as you learn to love them and recognize them and feel their reality, it will enable me to show you some of the things that they do and bring you blessings for your use in bringing into outer physical conditions the greater perfection that is to become eternal in this land. So as you go forward with some of your, shall I say, projects, you know that's a much used word lately, as some of your projects develop, we have a few of our own which I trust one day you will enjoy experimenting with. Some of our activities that will reveal to mankind many, many things from the Ascended Master's octave, which must have a channel through which to come into this world and become a part of its future perfection. So, dear hearts, just know that we are part of the great activity of building the perfection of the future. We are some of the builders, and you are some of the builders, and there are many other builders, but let us all recognize that anything that is to be sustained and fulfill the great divine plan must be built by love, with love, for love, and on the substance of this world that love has created and maintains to fulfill its own divine plan and the destiny of mankind unto the ascension. May we ever offer you the blessing of the mountains until when you come here, you will feel that they are one of your homes, and there you will enjoy with us others who make the mountains their home also. May you forever be welcome, and may I have the privilege of holding you there until I show you certain things that are exquisitely beautiful, which mankind has never seen and do not understand, but which one day must come and be given to the outer world. And I hope you will be the channels through which those gifts can be bestowed upon the rest of mankind to take them forward to their freedom. Just know that in the great divine plan of perfection, all of this weaves itself together like a beautiful tapestry, and every thread is necessary, and all the beauty of perfection and eternity comes to you as a natural enfolding presence and protection and assistance to the fulfillment of your destiny also. So, as we enter into the use of this magnificent power and blessing of life, try to know it is always the gift, the intelligence, the power, and the substance that love offers to fulfill its own divine law of blessing and happiness and perfection to all. May you abide within it and know that there never again can be struggle. I leave you enfolded in the radiance from the mountains, the sunshine of its glorifying presence. The mighty I Am ever makes you understand how wondrous those mighty giants of nature are and what love they represent to the earth from the great beings who have created them and given their blessings to the world. I commend you to the heart of that love, that you may know its beauty, happiness, and its victory forever. Thank you.